ABC Sports presents the 1981 World Series.
Bill Russell. In left field, number 12, Dusty Baker.
Dusty Baker is the definition of a baseball lifer. He spent 19 years as an MLB player.
Grand slam home run, Dusty Baker!
After that, he was one of the longest-serving managers ever.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing.
Becoming one of the most successful skippers of all time.
Congratulations to Dusty.
2,000 wins.
Dusty has both witnessed history and made it.
Dusty Baker makes the play. Oh, what a play he made.
He was there when Henry Aaron broke the home run record.
Fastball is a high drive into deep left center field.
He was there when an earthquake nearly canceled the World Series.
The Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an earthquake.
He also helped invent the high five.
He had his hand back like this. So what was I supposed to do?
Really.
So I hit his hand.
And that's not even scratching the surface.
Some hostility.
Dusty has been a part of, if not essential, to more historical baseball events than maybe any other person.
Swing and a miss! 20 strikeouts!
It's for this reason that many have called him the Forest Gump of baseball. So, since I love baseball, I love history, and I think Forrest Gump is just okay.
You're a goddamn genius.
This seemed like a perfect fit for a video.
Hey, I'm going back to the World Series.
So, after you like, subscribe, and all that jazz, let's talk about Dusty.
God dang it.
In 1967, the Atlanta Braves used a draft pick on a kid from Carmichael, California. Johnny Baker Jr. wasn't a top prospect. The son of an Air Force technician, his childhood had been one of strict rules and harsh discipline. Even his nickname, Dusty, did little to inspire confidence. Having spent his youth in Riverside, California, he'd grown up loving the Dodgers.
And I used to listen to Vin Scully on my transistor radio every day and pretend that I was Tommy Davis wearing number 12.
As a senior in high school, Baker caught the eye of Santa Clara University, who offered him a basketball scholarship. That same year, a week before his 18th birthday, the Braves selected him in the MLB draft. Atlanta wanted Dusty. Bad. So bad, in fact, that just days after they drafted him, the team sent one of their players, a man by the name of Henry Aaron, to try and talk the teen into signing. Aaron made two promises to the Bakers. First, he promised Dusty's mom, Christine, that he would take care of her son as if he were his own.
And I was closer in age to his kids than I was to him. I couldn't go out. I couldn't even have a drink then. So I was over there almost every day.
Fast forward 7 years. It's 1974. Blazing Saddles just came out. Richard Nixon is president. For now. And Dusty Baker is a big leaguer, kicking off what will turn out to be his second to last year in Atlanta. On April 8th, less than a week into the season, Dusty witnessed his first piece of baseball history. With lefty Al Downing on the mound, Henry Aaron sent a ball high into the Atlanta night for home run number 715, a new MLB record. The entire time this was happening, watching from the on-deck circle, was Dusty Baker. Let's jump ahead another 3 years. Now he's with the Dodgers, his childhood team. It was here, in LA, that Baker would have his peak, at least as a player. In 1977 alone, Baker hit .291 with 155 hits in 153 games, including 30 home runs. But while that is cool, you know what's even cooler? Inventing the high five. Allow me to set the stage. The date is October 2nd, the last day of the regular season. In the city of Los Angeles, the Dodgers are preoccupied with the upcoming postseason. They barely notice when the Houston Astros arrive for the final series of the year. In the 6th inning, facing the legendary J.R. Richard, Dusty did what he'd done 29 other times that season. He hit a home run. He rounded the bases, which he'd done before. He touched home plate, which he'd done before. But then, Dusty did something he had never done. When Baker got back to the dugout, Glenn Burke, the on-deck hitter, stuck his hand up in celebration. In that split second, in what was either a moment of pure genius or utter confusion, Dusty slapped it. This day, October 2nd, 1977, was the first recorded instance of a successful high five. During the 10 years he played after this game, he was present for some of the most iconic moments in baseball history, if not directly involved. In the 1977 Championship Series, he crushed a game-winning grand slam. This swing helped send the Dodgers to the Fall Classic and made Baker the NLCS MVP. In that year's Fall Classic, Dusty witnessed the birth of Mr. October when Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs in 3 straight at-bats. In 1981, Dusty was in LA as Fernando Mania swept the city. That October, the Dodgers won their first World Series since 1965. Also in that year, Dusty was the final batter of Nolan Ryan's 5th no-hitter, which broke the record set by Sandy Koufax. He was also just a great ball player. From 1972 to 1981, a full decade's worth of games, Dusty Baker was among the most consistent, well-rounded players in baseball. He finished top 3 in batting average twice, top 10 in slugging 3 times, and had a career OPS plus of 116. He won Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers, made All-Star teams, and collected MVP votes in multiple years. Now, you might think after all this, Dusty Baker would have had more than his fill of baseball. To be fair, Baker did try something different after baseball, at least at first. Immediately after hanging up his cleats, Dusty worked as a stockbroker in Los Angeles. Now, was he any good at this? I don't know. What I do know, however, is that this retirement plan, it didn't last long. Dusty Baker's return to baseball happened under less than ideal circumstances. See, MLB had a problem. On April 6, 1987, Dodgers general manager Al Campanis had agreed to appear on ABC's program Nightline. This was unusual, since Nightline didn't typically talk about sports. This night, however, ABC was covering the Marvin Hagler-Sugar Ray Leonard fight in Las Vegas, the most anticipated boxing match of the year. In order to build hype for their post-fight coverage, Nightline had decided to air a tribute to the late Jackie Robinson. The pre-taped feature began with footage of Red Barber, the beloved Dodgers announcer, among many others. It then transitioned to a clip of Rachel Robinson, Jackie's widow, explaining that for all the progress made on integration, baseball still had a lot of work to do. And then, they cut to Al.
Why is it that there are no black managers, no black general managers, no black owners?
Well, Mr. Koppel, there have been some black managers, but I really can't answer that question directly. The only thing I can say is that you have to pay your dues when you become a manager. Generally, you have to go to minor leagues. There's not very much pay involved. And some of the better-known black players have been able to get into other fields and make a pretty good living in that way.
Ted Koppel, the host for ABC, tried to throw Campanis a lifeline, asking if the GM would like to rephrase his answer.
Yeah, but you know in your heart of hearts, and we're going to take a break for a commercial, you know that that's a lot of baloney. I mean, there are a lot of black players, there are a lot of great black baseball men who would dearly love to be in managerial positions. And I guess what I'm really asking you is to, peel it away a little bit. Just tell me, why do you think it is? Is there still that much prejudice in baseball today?
Instead, Al doubled down.
No, I don't believe it's prejudice. I truly believe that they may not have some of the necessities to be, let's say, a field manager or perhaps a general manager.
You really believe that?
Well, I don't say that they're all of them, but they certainly are short. How many quarterbacks do you have? How many pitchers do you have that are black?
Yeah, but I mean, I got to tell you, that sounds like the same kind of garbage we were hearing 40 years ago about players when they were saying, not really cut out. You remember the days, hit a black football player in the knees, and no, that really sounds like garbage if you forget to say so.
Facing a PR nightmare, MLB scrambled to find a solution. They hired a civil rights activist for advice, and enlisted prominent black players to help encourage diversity in front offices. Which was how, just a few years into Dusty Baker's second life in finance, Henry Aaron, once again, came knocking. Following a phone call with Aaron, as well as Joe Morgan and Frank Robinson, Baker got in touch with the San Francisco Giants. He wanted to be the assistant GM, but settled for first base coach. By 1992, Dusty was managing the Scottsdale Scorpions in the Arizona Fall League. The Giants, meanwhile, were without a skipper of their own, having fired Roger Craig after the season. On December 16th, San Francisco announced that Dusty Baker would be their newest manager. He led the Giants to 103 wins, a 31-win jump from the previous year. The strike-shortened seasons of 1994 and 95 saw the Giants post a pair of losing records. Then, when baseball fully returned in 1996, they were losers again. In 1997, though, the winds of change came to Candlestick Park. They had traded slugger Matt Williams to Cleveland for Jeff Kent. They had also brought in first baseman J.T. Snow from the Angels. He'll come back later. With these new additions, plus Barry Bonds, the Giants rebounded with 90 wins, and their first playoff berth since 1989. Speaking of '89, this was yet another time Dusty Baker was involved with baseball history. This time, though, it wasn't the good kind. On October 17th, as Game 3 of the World Series was set to begin, a magnitude 6.9 earthquake struck the coast of California, the largest to hit the region since 1906. By 2002, Baker had established himself as one of the best skippers in baseball, winning Manager of the Year honors in 1993, 97, and 2000. He was also present when Barry Bonds hit his 71st, 72nd, and 73rd home runs in 2001, setting the single-season record. But yet, the greatest honor a manager could achieve, a World Series win, eluded him. Despite winning the NL West in 97 and 2000, the Giants had been knocked out in the NLDS both times. 2002, however, was different. That October, the World Series saw San Francisco face off against the Anaheim Angels. Coaching on the AL side, meanwhile, was Mike Scioscia, Dusty's former teammate with the Dodgers. It was a hard-fought series, going the full 7 games. The highlight, though, had little to do with the game itself. See, back in 2001, Dusty Baker had been diagnosed with prostate cancer, and while he had surgery to treat the condition that December, with his wife Melissa and a young son, Darren, Dusty wanted to spend as much time with them as possible. Thus, in 2002, 3-year-old Darren Baker was named the Giants' Bat Boy. In the 5th inning of Game 5, Kenny Lofton sent a deep drive into Triple's alley. As the ball caromed off the wall, J.T. Snow, see, I told you he'd be back, came around to score. Right behind him, coming in like a freight train, was David Bell. There was just one problem. See, eager to do his part, young Darren Baker had run out to grab Lofton's bat, putting him right in the path of Bell. Dusty watched from the dugout, helpless and horrified at what was about to unfold.
Your mother had a premonition prior to that game.
Yeah, well, right before the game started, she goes, son, you know, whatever you're going to do tonight, don't let Darren be the bad boy. I got a bad feeling. I said, Mom, okay, Mom. I said, he's been a bad boy like 40 times, 50 times. Nothing's ever happened.
When J.T. Snow crossed home plate, right behind him was David Bell. Little Darren Baker was standing very close to behind home plate. And J.T. Snow picked him up and carried him out of there before David Bell, who could have possibly run him over.
You know, like he doesn't even remember it.
I read that he said that,
He doesn't even
well,
remember
we were
it.
all horrified and terrified and scared to death.
Yeah, I know.
Following the 2002 season, the Giants declined to renew his contract, leaving Baker without a job. Unemployment didn't last long, though, as he was quickly hired by the Chicago Cubs. Under Baker's leadership, the 2003 Cubs won 88 games, and their first division title since the 80s. Then, the world met Steve Bartman.
Luis Castillo hits a foul ball down the left field line. You know, the fans go for it, bounces off one fan's hands. Moises jumps up in the air, slams down his mitt, makes a big scene. Pryor's pointing. It's just like everyone's blaming this one guy who's got the headphones on.
The Bartman incident became the defining moment of Dusty Baker's time in Chicago. In 2008, he was hired as manager of the Reds, taking them to the playoffs 3 times in 6 years. This included the 2010 NLDS. As Dusty looked on from the visitors' dugout, Phillies ace Roy Halladay no-hit the Reds lineup, just the second no-hitter ever thrown in the playoffs.
That is the best pitch game I've seen since I've been going to the playoffs and the World Series. The thing about it is, you know, I don't think he threw anything down the heart of the plate. Everything was on the corners and moving. And I don't know what his percentage was. It looked like he threw 90% first pitch strikes. And anytime you do that with the stuff he has, then he can go to work on you, you know, after that.
6 years later, now with the Nationals, Dusty watched Max Scherzer strike out 20 hitters in a single game, joining the likes of Kerry Wood, who Baker had also managed. Although he had winning records in Cincinnati and Washington, Dusty Baker spent 2018 and 2019 looking for work. Now 70 years old, it seemed like his days as a manager might be over. But then, just when all hope was lost, a video was posted online.
This whole story from The Athletic today is focused on the 2017 season and accusations made now by former Astros pitcher Mike Fiers, who was on the team during that World Series run. Now, in the story, Fiers accuses the Astros of illegally stealing signs, specifically during games at Minute Maid Park.
Tonight, shockwaves are rippling through Major League Baseball. The league hit the Houston Astros with harsh penalties today for illegally using technology to gain an edge, stealing secret pitching signals used by opposing teams.
In this audio-enhanced clip, you're about to hear the signal for an off-speed pitch. 2 bags on a trash can.
After the Astros faced backlash for their widely criticized public apology, some around baseball now speculating that opposing pitchers will look to retaliate by intentionally hitting Houston batters this season.
I'm depending on the league to try to put a stop to, this seemingly, premeditated retaliation. I'm just hoping that the league puts a stop to this before somebody gets hurt.
In spite of a losing record during the shortened 2020 campaign, Dusty's Astros advanced all the way to Game 7 of the ALCS. The 2021 Astros won an AL Best 95 games, though they would fall to the Braves in the World Series. Once again, a title eluded Dusty. But then, Dusty Baker reached the mountaintop.
Dusty, 2022 World Series champions. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I feel these guys are the greatest guys. They always believe. This is for my mom and my dad. My mom that passed in January, and my brother and all my boys here. Hey, baby.
Baker is one of the winningest managers in MLB. He's in the Dodgers Hall of Fame, and will probably be in Cooperstown someday. For a man who's seen so much, and accomplished so much more, I can't help but think that Dusty Baker isn't done yet.
More baseball news. Dusty Baker coming out of managing retirement. He's going to manage Team Nicaragua in the World Baseball Classic next year.